Ladies and gentlemen, halli hello and hejsan from Sweden. This is the 7th episode of the Swedish Affair, a series of video where I get to show you what's it like to live in Sweden. We just messed up the intro, but that's cool because we today have a colleague of mine actually here on the show.
Yeah, my name is Joseph. I'm from Spain, and I'm so glad to be here. This guy is awesome.
The reason behind all that is because today we're gonna talk about COVID and the COVID measures in Sweden because it's a very interesting topic, right?
It is.
So, matter of fact, we're gonna do a comparison between the situations in Spain, Austria, where I'm coming from, and Sweden, where we both live right now. We're gonna start off with the situation in Sweden, how it evolved, how the history of COVID is in Sweden, and then compare it one time to Spain, because I had a lot of rumors about Spain and the COVID situation.
It's complicated, yeah.
And then also to my home country, Austria. So today, as you can see, we're in a bit of a different setting here. Actually, we're in the middle of a party, so we're using a beer can as a microphone stand. Okay.
Anyway,
let's get on the topic. When you came to Sweden for the first time, there was a lot of differences, right? So there was a lot of things that are completely different, although you didn't leave the European Union at all, right?
the thing is I came here on summer. Back then there was no lockdown in Spain, so everything was calm, although we had to wear masks every time. But then I get here. The first thing I do is wear my mask. I get out of the train and I ask for the people to get on a bus, and those people, nobody's wearing masks. It's crazy. It's crazy. And people looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing with a mask?
That is so true.
And I felt like I'm doing something wrong by wearing a mask, which is...
And even 2 weeks ago, I took a friend of mine and my girlfriend from the airport, and they got on a train, and they were so confused that there is no one in Sweden is wearing mask at all. And that's first of all, that's the main difference.
Yeah, totally. And so obviously the second ride, when I'm in the bus, I'm already like with the mask off. You know, like, okay, let's follow the traditions here. You know, if this works like this, I go that way. And by one day, like the next day, I was already in the mood. I wasn't wearing mask anymore. I had brought tons of masks from Spain, but I haven't used any one since then. I have used it only when, unfortunately, I got COVID and I had to go grocery store. Like, right. I used it then.
Okay.
But besides that, I haven't used it anymore. So it's pretty crazy. And how the first day I was meeting with everyone, like partied two days in a row, partying with a lot of people. It was crazy. Like nobody cared.
Yeah.
But yeah. How did you feel?
Yeah, for me it was more or less the same experience. I was entering Sweden, and then it was at 5:30 in the morning. Then I went for a coffee to McDonald's, actually. And when I was entering, I knew that there is like something like no mask in Sweden, and I took it like in the pocket, the mask, and then when I entered, I felt like a criminal, you know? I felt like a criminal without the mask inside a McDonald's.
Okay.
So that was really, I was getting anxiety.
Like people would like, just someone would come to you and like, hey, sorry, you actually
like,
need to...
Like you would expect it in Austria or in any other
sure,
country.
Like people looking at you like, what the hell?
Crazy, yeah. There is big differences. And not only in the perception of how the situation is in Sweden, but also in the history of what the measures were in Sweden. So when we do a quick recap on when the whole thing started. So the screening of COVID data started around March of 2020, and then Google gathered all the data and like made graphs and everything out of it. And as you can see on the Swedish graph, COVID numbers didn't raise at all until October, November of 2020. So the whole pandemic actually reached the country almost a year later than all of the rest of the world. That means a lot to a country. That is billions of euros, billions of everything, billions of taxes.
They were 1 full year without like almost no cases, and that for a country you believe in it, then you're like, okay, this is gonna be like this. And suddenly when everything seems pretty good, then you get hit in the face, you know, like boom, you have this. How you deal with it? And they actually, at least from my point of view, I was already here, so how I felt it is they put some recommendations. They were never like rules to follow.
Yeah, And that's it. That's a point that I really wanted to talk about in this video, because Sweden is only giving recommendations to their society, which is, for me, is the best thing you could ever do. I give you a quick example right now. Right now, we are in April 2021. Whenever you're feeling sick, they recommend you, I have the homepage here, they recommend you stay home if you have any symptoms of COVID-19.
Basic.
Number 2, wash your hands frequently and thoroughly, or use hand sanitizer. Stay up to date with any specific recommendation issued by the Public Health Agency of Sweden. And that is it. That is all they have here in Sweden. That is so cool, right?
And I just surely want to comment, when I got sick, the recommendations they give you, they're still like really basic, and out of any other European country, it's actually, they told you to stay only 7 days at home,
yeah.
And if it's the 7th day you're already feeling okay,
yeah,
you can go back
easy,
to work.
Easy.
They have this strong sense of, we keep on going.
But if we want to compare this now to Austria or Spain, I think Austria and Spain, in Spain it hit a little earlier than in the Central Europe part, but whenever I try to like compare all the measures, all the dates, and all the figures, it's just out of hand, because in Austria they basically locked down everything in February of 2020, and then it was
same in Spain.
Yeah, and then it was game over for 4 months.
Yeah.
In Sweden, they didn't even know about COVID basically at that time. And then summer was nice, summer was all open, and then everything got locked down again. Hotels, bars, restaurants, all the places that people gather in, lockdown. Here in Sweden, up to this day, you can go to any restaurant, to any bar, to cinemas. You can go to cinemas. Until to this day,
it's crazy. Like
there is some regulations with times and also with distance to other persons, but then everything is still open. Would you please consider how much difference that makes for a whole economy, just in terms of money, just in terms of revenue, of taxes and everything? That's a huge damage in my way, in the way I see it, to all the countries that didn't go the Swedish way. I
also need to add that now it's paying off, in the sense that now Sweden is experimenting a huge increase in numbers in COVID, although there's no many, like compared to Spain, or I don't know about Austria, but in Sweden there's not many people. It's like up to 10 million. In Spain we're like 4 or 5 times that number. But now, like if you check the ratios, Sweden is doing far worse, obviously, because there's some point that this is exponential, and if people get infected, you just get more people infected if you follow Swedish rules, rules, recommendations. Like, so I experienced 2 months ago, more or less, that they put the first like compulsory rules to follow, which was no more than 4 people seated on a restaurant, but the restaurants are still open.
So don't be fooled. There is also a downside to this whole topic, also in Sweden, because if you look at the graph of COVID numbers, of COVID infections in Sweden, it got really messy in November, and also now in March.
It is.
It was quite hard, and that's also why the Swedish king actually interfered in the whole scene. He was like, "You're taking this way too unserious. Stop
really,
messing
I didn't
around."
know that.
Yeah, really. He was really getting mad at the government. Okay, so basically, to have a little bit of a result right now, is there is a lot of good things in the COVID discussion in Sweden, but then there's also downsides, right?
There is. I want to sum it up, maybe, to take just a quick look when it comes to society. Because Sweden, somehow, I guess it's cultural already. I don't want to get into dirty business, but they are really good at following recommendations. They're really good. There's something, I don't know if it's in education, but people are really concerned about serious stuff.
Very true.
And that's something that Spain lacks, for example.
Yeah. Just to keep it very simple, if you would give recommendations to the Spain or to the Italian or to the Austrian society, no one would fucking care about it.
No one would even move a muscle for doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But Sweden, they have a sense of trusting each other and just
Very true.
taking things seriously. And that's something I take from here. Like, people are really true to themselves, and they like really concerned about stuff. They're really serious about it, and that's something I think we should we had to say, right? Because it's what, when I compare my experience in Spain and my experience here, any field, those like Swedish people are like more serious in general and
it's
more
really
concerned
like
about
really like that.
In Spain, I don't know if it's because of the Mediterranean vibe that we get, that we're all lazy and happy, and we yes, but
okay, if you take it that way, the Swedish model, I would say, is only possible because of the way Swedish people act and think. It's not gonna be possible in Spain because of basically of the temperament and
it's a sense of community. It's something that it's not even individually. It's something that it's been given to every single Swede.
Perfect. All right. So on that note, we hope that it was a bit informative for you. And I mean, we're having a great time here. I'm gonna dismount the camera real quick because I'm gonna show you a little bit of.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Should I?
Every day, and I put the meat on the grill.
Does that look amazing?
I got
I'm sorry. Okay. Say bye to the people.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
See you soon.
I'm gonna close it off here. Boom. Ciao.
Like a rhino.